I need to know what Grant Stankfield says. This is, by the way, Grant Stinchfield on Newsmax. He's one of the people who, very few people will tell us the honest, the horde's honest truth about Joe Biden's plan to own you. Okay, he's gonna own you, guys. He's gonna own you. He owns you. It's like slavery, except remember when slavery they gave people loans? It's like that. Thank you, Patty. Bring me your Moses now. See, where's your Moses now? Edward G. Robinson in the Ten Commandments. Yeah.
I want to talk about.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. I want to know what Grant Stankfield has to say about this. He looks lovely and doesn't look at all like he's like, son, you look like you've been smoking the pot.
And his handlers are out.
Okay, sorry. I've got to back this up because clearly there was a start in.
Joe Biden and his handlers are out to dismantle America.
Okay, good. All right, so it's the segment's called Dismantling America. Biden's big government plans changing America. To change America? Big government plans to change? I guess it is changing. We're in the middle of the change. The changing has occurred.
He wants to break us down so he can...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
...rebuild America into, you ready for this?
Yes.
A communist nation.
What? A communist nation with a public option you can buy into? Why would the government give you money and then have you give it back to the government for that? That sounds like a company store okay, but please tell me more, Stankfield.
In order to do that,
yeah, it's going to take a lot of work, probably. I mean, you have to put up big posters of his face everywhere and giant billboards with just his eyes that play during rallies. Wait, that's not Biden. I'm thinking of somebody else.
We need to fundamentally change the makeup of America.
Oh, so this is going to take a lot of work, probably a lot of time. Remember, like re-education camps. We're going to have to institute communism. Does everybody get a little red book?
They need the majority of people on board with an all-powerful government in full control of everything.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult to do. I mean, first they'll have to try it. Stankfield.
What better way to do that than open up our borders?
Well, I mean, unless you're only opening the borders to people who are communists. I mean, arguably, I know the borders aren't open, but if I'm following you, and who wouldn't, the border is all people, in some cases, who are escaping Venezuela, among other countries, where it seems they're trying to get away from socialist stuff.
And promise free stuff, health care, welfare, and of course...
Well, it's not free. It's paid by taxpayers. We all kind of kick in, and then we create a baseline, and if you want more, you pay for it out of your own pocket, because that's the, create a baseline for all Americans, because it's a country, and we're all Americans, and we're all, there's been inequities, and we sort of straighten those out a little bit, and then everybody gets a shot, and if you truly succeed, everybody has a baseline, you never fall below it, like Social Security.
Amnesty. The left.
Amnesty.
Now wants America overwhelmed with migrants dependent on the government. The more...
I thought we wanted them in because they were going to do all the jobs that other people don't want to do for cheap.
People here that support massive government programs, the more people dependent on those programs.
Right. It's just... And of course, they're going to have to be in Spanish or Portuguese.
Easier it is to grow government and, of course, its power over the people. That's what they seek here. All of this goes hand in hand.
Yeah, you could tell where he's doing this kind of stuff. He's totally... That was a Jedi mind trick that Biden just did. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
And with Joe Biden's latest $2.5 trillion, quote, infrastructure bill.
Quote, infrastructure. Quote, infrastructure, evermore.
Yes, the open borders.
Hello, Australia. How are you? Good to see you. Hello, Kerry.
Along with these massive spending bills are...
Why are you gesturing just like Biden? If we're supposed to be afraid of him, why are you making your hands move just like he is? Folks, said it before, not a joke.
Are the 1-2 punch aimed at knocking America out.
That's right. This is a fight, folks, and your eye is black. You're up against your rope-a-doping conservatives.
We have deferred for too long. It's time to take action, and our grandkids are going to be grateful if we do it.
What? That's not possible. Grandkids, they're going to hate freeways and internet.
No, I don't think so. That's
Yeah, you tell them.
Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo.
Oh my God. Raimondo? That sounds bad.
And our grandkids.
Did she just come across the border? Is she one of these, like, unaccompanied minors? Has she already taken an American's job? This sucks.
Kids will not be grateful. They'll be bankrupt, okay? And if two...
Why? Well, if they don't run their businesses well, I don't know. I mean, how can you be bankrupt if you're in a communist country? Bing! Bingo!
$2.5 trillion isn't...
Honest to God, how do you bankrupt? There's no bankruptcy in communist society. If you're going to wholly rewrite the communist, by the time your grandkids grow up, they'll be growing up in communism. There's no, you can't, no loans in, what do you, I don't even,
isn't enough to break the bank. Hey, why not make it 10 trillion?
That 2.2 trillion, 2.25 over 8 years, I have serious concerns. And in order for us to realize this inspiring vision, we need to go way higher. If we could wave a magic wand and the progressives in the House were able to name any number and get it through, we're talking about realistically $10 trillion over 10 years.
$10 trillion, she says. Magic wand. Why not make it 20 or $30 trillion? Come on, AOC, over 10 years.
Yeah, if you could wave a magic wand. Obviously, you can't wave a magic wand, you know.
Here's 10 trillion. The federal government only takes in about 3.5 trillion a year.
Only. So the federal government takes in $3.5 trillion a year. And if you put $1 trillion of that towards infrastructure, you still have a $2.5 trillion budget overall. You lay off a bunch more of it onto the states, and then over the next 10 years, you spend $1 trillion of that specifically on infrastructure. I see. Sounds horrifying.
So, of course, the Democrats' answer to all this is raise taxes on, of course, the wealthy.
Well, no. I mean, you're skipping to the point where she said 10, but Biden still is at around 2. And the raising of taxes is midway. It's still lower than it was 5 years ago.
And on businesses. But here's the problem with that.
What's the problem? Keystone Pipeline's gone.
The plan that they're offering up here
What's the plan?
calls for the creation of tens of thousands of union jobs.
Right? Yeah. And obviously, once the Keystone Pipeline is built, those jobs are over.
Sounds good until you realize those jobs are to work on government projects.
Well, private industry doing those things, and they'll take 10 years over time. And obviously, there'll be maintenance and other stuff, and there'll be flow through the industry like energy. That's not going to go away. Converting ourselves to a smart grid isn't going to be all right.
What happens?
And by the way, just in case you're wondering, they've done the math on this.
When the government projects are finished?
Yeah, what happens if we have plenty of, oh my God, those are the tiniest nuclear facilities I've ever seen. They're adorable. Either that or they're being attacked by Glenzilla. Glenn, stay away from the nukes. That's not a trash can. That's not a trash can.
The people keep their jobs is if government spends more money on more government projects. That sounds great too. Except what AOC and
well, the idea too is that you build more roads and more transportation, more private industry has the ability to work. You know, if you have Amtrak going other places and better internet across the entire country, you start more businesses, and those people, they're working on those primary things, and then they can start their own businesses, or they could actually add to, you know, they're going to work in and around the infrastructure that's created because new towns will spring up because you've got an Amtrak line or the roads have improved or, never mind. I mean, let's just be honest. The interstate freeway system was a mistake. Stinchfield is right.
And Joe Biden's handlers envision is impossible to sustain. Now, I believe, and I'm sure you're with me on this.
Yeah, I'm sure I am.
The government only needs to ensure the opportunity for private enterprise to create wealth in America exists. The opportunity.
Yeah, just guys, there can be a road here. Just saying. Who wants to build a road? Get at it.
Incentivize entrepreneurship. That's what government should be doing.
Yeah.
Instead,
No.
this plan they're offering up turns everyone out there into a worker bee. No more entrepreneurs.
No more entrepreneurs. Yeah. If you come up with an idea for, products that you could sell in train stations that are new to your area, or if you say have a delivery company, or you drive a truck for a living and you start your own group of trucks or that kind of stuff, that's not going to be allowed. We're going to build these nice roads. Nobody's allowed on them. It's part of the put that back plan that Jesus is putting forward.
Worker bees were the
Worker bees.
only entity that actually creates jobs is, of course, the federal government.
How? This is like saying we're going to create a body that's all veins, no heart, no brain. We're going to outlaw brains, hearts, and organs. This is all 100% veins.
That sounds an awful lot like communism. And
No, it doesn't. Even communism supposedly creates and generates things.
in order for it to work, the communists in charge now need more worker bees.
No more. I see. So that's why we need 8-year-old Mexican kids
Who don't need a lot to live on, by the
No, you need impoverished Mexican worker bees to build roads that no one's allowed to use or build a business around.
way. Hence the call for mass migration to
That's what it is. I see.
America. Just look at what is in this infrastructure bill.
Thanks, Roger. And thank you, Foggy. And thank you, Patty and Bronwyn Fox. Bless you for the super chats, by the way. Francie, thank you so much. And Raphael, he said, nothing like getting advice from Lance D's nuts.
Most of it has nothing to do with infrastructure.
No. Look at this. It's just money in the air. Basically, Biden's just making it rain. He's like Matt Getz on Apple Pay. $400 billion to care for the elderly or disabled? What kind of commie bullshit is this?
They've got $400 billion in it to care for the elderly and disabled. $300 billion to revitalize manufacturing.
Gross. Revitalize manufacturing. I thought they were just going to set up government manufacturing sites that employ Mexican and Guatemalan toddlers. What do you mean revitalize? That sounds a lot like loan guarantees.
Be sure this will come in the form of loans that will, of course, make businesses beholden to government for years
Well, they don't have to take the loan.
to come.
But, they're loan guaranteed by the government. In case you fail, it's a safety. All right.
$213 billion for affordable housing, they say.
Oh, my God. What kind of, obviously blocks of giant Russian flats everywhere.
Here's what happens.
What happens?
The landlord for all those new worker bees will now be the federal government.
Well, no, they won't. Because the money for affordable housing is actually for real estate developers to borrow to build, and then they will make money, and then they pay the loans back, and they own the property and own the buildings themselves over time as they pay them off, just like when you have a mortgage on a house.
$10 billion for the enforcement, and that's the key word here.
Uh-oh.
That employers are providing workers with fair and equal pay.
Oh my God, what kind of, listen to this commie shit.
Enforcement to make sure workplaces are free from racial and gender discrimination. That's a direct quote.
Which sounds awful.
Meaning the government will now dictate to you
whether or not you can mock women and minorities in the workplace and pay them less because they're brown or female or both.
How you run your business.
Yeah, if you want to run your business, now Stormfront's going to have a $15 minimum wage.
And if you don't comply,
you what?
That's their favorite word, by the way.
Is it? Is it their favorite word? I don't know that comply is because it sounds too much like two-ply, like toilet paper. I wouldn't say comply. I think demand is much better. Because it's got man in it.
You will be punished, of course.
Of course. naughty, dirty. You'll get it.
A key aspect or core value of this anti-freedom, anti-American bill is punishment.
Well, no, I mean, equal protection under the law is primary to the Constitution. It would be, it's fundamentally American to guarantee that and make sure that people aren't discriminating based on, immutable characteristics. That's the American thing.
This is a values-based package, and we are not going to compromise on core values. And meeting the challenges of climate change is a core value. Equity is a core value.
Yes, equity, not equality, equity. That's been a hard thing for them to latch onto, because equality, they've been using this equality of outcome kind of thing, that it's communism, that everybody has to be guaranteed they're going to be successful by the government. Whereas equity is making sure everybody gets to the starting line equally, without anybody being held back because of discrimination or, lack of schooling or funds that, in a public school that another school district has that they don't, those kind of things. That if everybody has that, then we have equity. It's up to you to be successful. Equality, they want to talk about this kind of as that's their buzzword that they've been borrowing for communism and socialism. He'll try, don't worry.
All right, so she's talking about people being equal, but they aren't.
No, they're not. We're not all as good as Stinchfield.
And they never will be.
No, they won't. Try as hard as we will, none of us will ever be Grant Stinchfield.
Some people are smarter, some people are stronger, some people are more efficient.
And some people are Grant Stinchfield.
Those people deserve more when they do
Thanks for noticing. I feel seen.
better things. That is at the heart of American success. It's not a bad
Right. Yeah. And and the other heart of American success, of course, the lower ventricle, is stiff-arming poor people to make sure they never get an equal footing. Because, how am I supposed to succeed if I have to compete with them on an equal playing field? That's horrifying.
not a bad thing. But when you flood our society with unskilled labor and
Yeah, if you flood, this is a genuine. I understand why Grant Stinchfield is very upset about this, because if you flood America with completely unskilled, incompetent workers, he's going to lose his job to one of them. If I was him, I'd be nervous too. Somebody goes, there's a lot of unskilled workers coming across the board. Jesus Christ, there goes my employment security.
uneducated workforce, guess what happens?
You have Newsmax in Spanish.
Treating everyone the same becomes so much easier.
Does it? Is it easier to... Wait, is it easier to treat everyone the same if a bunch of them speak Spanish and you don't? What?
No one complains, get in line.
Yeah, nobody complains. Yeah, that was the thing about communism. Nobody ever complained.
Take your check. What we are now witnessing
Take your check and your one roll of toilet paper and your walnuts. What are the walnuts for? You eat the toilet paper. You wipe your ass with the walnuts.
is the attempt to destroy
Sorry.
American greatness. But Joe Biden,
Yeah, it's terrible. They want to go after America's greatness, which of course is not predicated on everyone getting a shot.
I like wood.
communist goons underestimate all of us.
That's right. These goons, they're never going to get Grant Stinchfield.
Stinchfield's army. That's a guarantee, folks.
Wait a minute. Did he just say Stinchfield's army? What was that?
Underestimate all of us. Stinchfield's army.
Stinchfield's army? Dude, this is... Your network has 1.8 million subscribers. You have 22,000 views. Army? Army. Really? Scout troop, maybe.
That's
ridiculous.
guarantee, folks.
Yeah, that's right. Once Stinchfield, yeah, the stinkers.
Their attempted communist takeover will be harder than they think.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult, especially since they're not actually trying to do it.
Because the American people are also smarter than they think, too.
the American people are smarter than the commies think they are, or the American people are smarter than they themselves think they are? I just got lost in pronoun hell, Stankfield.